gals. So we are finally going to go through Lock 10 here in Gutenberg, Iowa. The wind's coming from the north. It shifted early this morning, and it's going to be a little tricky. I'm a little nervous. I've been putting it off for a couple hours here, hoping that the wind will die down, but it's not, and it probably won't. So we're going to try to float through. We were kind of watching. You know, we were just tied up to the break wall, and we're going to try to float through. I think we can do it. I think I'm going to go in, I'm going to turn around, I'm just going to sit there really slow, kind of nosing into the wind. We'll give it a shot. I hope it works. Stay tuned. Holding pattern, like an airline pilot. Just doing circles out here. And they're opening up for little old us. Thank you, guys. This is like the 8th lock we've gone through, and for some reason I'm nervous. I think it's the wind. Because one other time we went through with the north wind, and I was trying to float, and it got kind of squirrely. I was able to pull it off, but yeah, this boat is tricky. I gotta figure out some better ways of doing this. And I've got some ideas I'll share with you guys down the road. It's actually not that bad in here. The walls block the wind to a certain extent. But the boat does already start to try to turn sideways. So far, so good. We're just kind of floating. Okay, so the wind did gently blow us into the wall, which is no big deal. And the bumpers are doing their job. As long as you're gentle, they're working fine. So yeah, no worries. This is probably a better way. We're kind of, now the wall's kind of keeping us in place enough to get this job done. This boat is so relatively long, and there's no center point to manage the boat, and then just one person. That's what makes it kind of tricky. But I'm not complaining. I mean, it's working. But I got some ideas, like I said. We'll talk about them in a future episode. And of course, you're useless. Are you back to being useless? All right, so they're opening it up, but I got turned around in the process, so I got to turn the boat back around. Stay tuned, guys. Okay, we're turned around. I'm getting better at maneuvering this thing. Sometimes you got to do like 10-point turns, but as long as you got the width, not a problem. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
You bet. Have a safe trip.
It always feels good to get through a lock. You can breathe a little deeper. And the winds that are back. We've probably gained another mile per hour. We're doing over 6 miles an hour at pretty low RPMs. I'm guessing 2,000 RPMs or so. And the next kind of big destination, you know, we'll stop if we see something neat, but would be Dubuque, Iowa. Well, here's a first. I was thinking this was gonna be a push boat, but it's not. It's a river boat. There it is. We'll come back here and get another little glimpse of it. An authentic looking, at least, Mississippi riverboat moving up the Mississippi towards Gutenberg, Iowa. This is a day for firsts on the river here. That would be one of those small car ferries. I didn't know there was one. I'm not sure what this town is. We'll look it up. I'll put it on the screen when I make this video. Looks like a little town, and you can jump on this car ferry and go across the river. Cool. Well, this looks like a neat little town to walk around. But I'm not seeing a dock. There he is coming back. Man, that's a fast boat. This is coming back downstream. He's passing us on the port side. The twilight. And it is, it's a passenger. I got passengers. Just heading down the river, playing music. That's awesome. Now I'm getting passed up again by, I would assume, is a looper. That's a big old Europa. Lady Chateau. I think I'm pretty comfortable till something like that rolls by. Okay, these are the biggest waves that we've seen on this trip yet. They're coming from the back, so they're pushing us along. And the boat's handling it just fine. I even had to turn sideways to go do something in the back, and it was, you know, I handled it fine, but yeah. I don't know what you call these, 3-footers, and so far so good. Alright, guys and gals, so today ended up being mostly a transit day. The wind was coming from the back. We started in Gutenberg, Iowa, and we're just north, I mean right on the edge, north Dubuque, however far that is. But yeah, this last 10 miles or so has been pretty challenging because the wind really did pick up, and the boat was, does when it kind of gets hit in the corners, you know. I mean, I handled it fine, but yeah, I had to stay at the wheel for most of the day. So we are trying to find a place to anchor in a protected area. Let me turn the phone around, I'll show you. So there's not much, but if this can be believed, we might be able to get back into here. And I did see that fisherman come out from around here somewhere, so I'll start paying some attention and see if we can find a place to anchor for the night. So stay tuned, guys. All right, guys, I'm gonna turn the phone on here just for a second. This would be an example of when things are kind of stressful. So it's towards the end of the day. I probably only have an hour of daylight left if I'm lucky. Got a pretty massive tailwind that's making some pretty decent waves. The boat's handling it just fine, but there's no place to set in. So we hit a wing dam. We actually clipped a rock. I was trying to come into a side river, and they have a big wing dam that directs everything down to the lock here in North Dubuque. And I didn't realize it must have been, I don't know, foot underwater. I didn't see it. Went from like 25 feet up to the wing dam, and click, 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 and I heard the prop hitting it, and I turned off the motor really quick. We got a couple little dings in the prop, but everything seems to be fine. It's still running fine. It's no, debilitating damage, but you never want to hear your motor hitting rocks. It's like it'll make your heart skip a beat. So we backed off of it really slowly. Thank God we just kind of were able to let the boat kind of pivot, and then I backed off of it. And now I'm trying to find a place to set in and get out of the wind. And I'm looking on the chart here, and I'm kind of afraid to get off the channel in case I'll hit something. Here, I'll turn the phone around for you. So, yeah, the waves never really do justice on film, and if I was in any, a trawler or something, it'd be no big deal. But when you're, I'm feeling them, and they're coming right at our tail. I'll show you guys the damage on the prop tomorrow. It's not. I mean, I've got a spare prop, and as long as it didn't blow out the lower unit, I can swap a prop. And to tell you the truth, this prop's just fine. But I'll take a closer look at it tomorrow. Yep. Let's get through this. There's the There's the lock and dam right there, and I really don't want to go through it tonight. So stay tuned, we'll see what happens. Okay guys, let me try to show you what's going on here. So there's this break wall, thank God. It might be here just for this exact reason. And I was able to duck behind it. It is nasty out there. There's a serious north wind coming in. It got cold too. It's probably below, I bet you it's 35 right now. And I dropped both anchors. I'm just waiting to see if the boat settles. I had to go over like a 3-foot, I guess you could call it a bar, to come in here. But now it's, if it's to be believed, we're at like 19, 20 feet. I don't know, I guess you can't see that, huh? And there's the lock right there. Man, this is gonna be stressful. I suppose if the anchors did slip, I would go into there and not through the dam, hopefully. And the fact that I was coming in here and that tree right there, that kind of stuff tells you that it's shallow, because that tree wouldn't have snagged up right there. So I just and the charts really don't tell you the depths accurately in this kind of intricate stuff here. So yeah guys, I'm gonna let the boat settle and see what happens here. I'll check back in with you. Stay tuned. All right guys, well, you're not gonna get much out of this because it's dark, but I've got a barge moving. I think he's coming north through the lock. And he's just right there, and he's got his lights on. He's not shining them right directly at me, but pretty close. And I wish you could see just how crazy the water is right now. Maybe you can just barely see that. The wind is just barreling down from the north. And if this break wall wasn't here, I'd be screwed. I'm not sure exactly what I would have done, because I was running out of daylight. But I'm finally starting to trust our spot here. I don't think the boat, he's got it lit up a little bit, so you can probably see a little bit going on here. But we're in this corner. There's the train tracks. And then there's this break wall right here. And we've got 2 anchors out. I mean, if my anchor's dragged, I think the next thing I would do is just go tie up to one of these trees. There's nothing else I can do. This is the screwiest spot. I wish I would have known this, but I mean, it's not that big a deal, you know. If we get through the night, no problem. But just stressful. It'd be hard to sleep tonight. Good morning, guys and gals. It is Saturday. I don't know what the date is. I'm not paying any attention. I'm lucky that I know it's Saturday. Time out of mind, remember. Time out of mind. I'm going to turn the phone around and show you our situation as of last night. So I just got up, making coffee. Haven't even had coffee yet. This spot pretty much saved our lives last night. I don't want to get too dramatic or hyperbolic, but it might have. This is a break wall. I will show you on the map. But yeah, this goes across the river. So if you see out there where that green can is at, it's cold this morning, by the way. It's about 35 degrees. So I'm staying in the cabin for the moment. We ducked behind here because it's died down a lot, but yesterday there was a wicked north wind blasting us down the river, which was great for moving. I mean, it was getting us going. We were doing, good time. But we came up on the dock here, the lock and dam, right at North Dubuque, Iowa, and it was starting to get dark. Probably had like half hour, 45 minutes left of sunlight, and I didn't want to go through there because if you wait too long, you get caught in there at night. You come out the other side, you don't know what's over there. But it almost was there was no choice. This stretch from basically Cassville, maybe 12 miles up the river to here, has no place to get off the channel. And not only that, it's flanked by this big wing dam. Well, it's probably not called a wing dam. It's more like a chute of rock walls right under the surface of the water that's directing the current, which I understand why they do it. I mean, they didn't do all this work for us. They do it for the barges, and so I have to keep that in mind. We have to keep that in mind. I'm going to turn the phone around. And I tried to duck into this little side stream that, if it only had a couple feet, it would have been fine. But we clipped the rock wall. It was just right below the surface. I couldn't see it, but the prop hit it. But it sounds bad, and it could have been horrible, but it just nicked up my prop. We were going so slow, and it just kind of nicked it. I heard it. Any aluminum boats will let you know when you touch anything. They'll just shake and tremble and make a bunch of noise. But it's fine. A couple nicks in the prop I'll show you when I get a chance. But we drifted back out in the current. We came back down here. I saw this little, I was hoping it was accurate, this little break wall. I mean, in the wind, I can't underplay that. You'll see it, probably have already seen it in the video. But we ducked back here, and here, I'll turn the phone around again. We ducked up here in the corner. This little corner, basically we're right at the edge of it, was the only place that was like a windbreak enough that was sending the wind over us and around us. And I put both anchors out. And another weird thing about it is there's these holes in here. When I watch the depth sounder, this is nerve-wracking. Right around when you come around the corner over here, it got to like 50 feet, which you never see. 30 feet's a lot out here. And then you come in here, and you can see, well, it quickly, here, I'll try to show you. That kind of snags and stuff will tell you that it's shallow when like tree branches and trees and stuff get snagged in the bottom. And it started to quickly come up to like 3 feet. And not only that, I know I'm doing a terrible job here. I'll try to, I'm also steaming up the cabin from making coffee here. I'll step out of here for just a second, guys. Back in there, all the wind's going down into that, that catch there, and it was even worse. So it's shallow in there, obviously, because you can see by all the snags. I don't know, because I'm not going to go down there. I didn't go down there, but I bet you it's 2 or 3 feet. And then, the wind's whipping down in there and getting trapped behind the walls there. So that was a terrible place to go, So here's the train tracks. We had trains going by all night, which is kind of cool, actually. Kept us company. And we came up in this corner. But, it comes up to like 20 feet right there, and then it comes up to 10 feet. And then, where I'm at is like, 8 feet. And then you get closer to the break wall there, and it's like 3 feet. And that can be a problem because here, I'm gonna turn the phone around again. Because when you put your anchor out, if you're in 8 feet of water, but it's right on the edge, and let's say it pulled the anchor off the edge and it went into 30 feet of water or 50 feet of water, you would just be floating with your anchor, not touching the bottom. I mean, you can put rode out, that's why rode is what it is, But you can only put so much out, especially if you're in 8 feet of water. You're putting too much out, and then your boat starts to, get too far back and, hitting the break wall over there. So this was, a lot of it was just luck. I mean, we came up in this corner, and in the dark, by the time we kind of got in here trying to get settled, luckily the floodlights I have on the decks helped a lot. I was able to find kind of like a little plateau on the bottom in the corner here that was like about 10 feet, and I got right in the middle of it, dropped both anchors, and I sat here for half the night just watching and checking the whole time to make sure we're not dragging, because at first we went kind of over farther towards the river on this break wall, but the waves and the wind were coming around it, and they were really making us swing on the hook, and I think kind of slowly pulling the anchors out. You just can't sleep like that. And then I'm going to turn the phone around one more time and show you another thing. So, I mean, this is highly unlikely. If we would have dragged anchors and all that stuff that I just described happened, we would have probably, went back in there and started having problems in there, or possibly on the other side of this wall here is the actual lock, and we could have went in there and caused all sorts of problems. We did have a couple of barges go through late last night. But what it would have been a nightmare, of course, was if we somehow drifted over there, while we're sleeping, not paying any attention, and went across and into that dam. Now, they probably do have blocks, like barriers. I don't know for sure, but they probably do. I mean, they got to move in order to let the water through, when they do. But, could you imagine waking up? Sorry, it's not wanting to focus. Could you imagine waking up and, you're slamming into that? And it's just, oh boy, this was cray-cray. And then over there, I don't know what's over there either. I think there might be another one of those chutes that are just right below the water line, so I didn't want to go over there. And, if I take my prop out and then I'm drifting and I can't get the anchors to stop us, eventually we're going over the dam. So needless to say, it was a very stressful night last night. But after a while, let's say midnight or so, I left all the curtains up so I could just kind of pop out of bed and look around. And there, you get kind of some points of references, like there's a tree over here on this windbreak, and I knew that if I could see that, and we're kind of, it's showing up in the middle window, we haven't dragged. Now people say, well, why don't you set your anchor, drag alarm? I could. I think sometimes they're a false sense of security. I don't know. They don't always work. I've had them not work. I haven't tried this one, and I think I will next time I find myself in this predicament. I think I'm going to test it. I'm going to test it out. I'll go into that more sometime. But yeah, after, a while, I just figured if it hadn't happened yet, it probably won't happen. So I was able to get some sleep. Not the best night's sleep on this trip. But it happens. This is the kind of stuff that's going to happen. It's inevitable. So, okay, guys, I know it's just a lot of talking, but sometimes it's the only thing you can do. So I'm going to have some coffee here, and we are going to call the lockmaster and hopefully get through the lock, and we will go into Dubuque and maybe hopefully find a good anchorage to drop the hook in, and then maybe we'll go explore the town because I've always wanted to. So stay tuned. I was gearing up to head down the lock, but I think this guy takes priority. So I'm cooking some breakfast here and waiting for this barge to pass through, and I look over there and it looks like they've got something going on there. Not good. That's the fire department? So maybe something, sorry about that, it's hard to keep it straight when you're zoomed in this far, but yeah, that does not look good. We might be sitting here for a while. I do hope we can at least get out of here before dark. Oh, it's about 20 minutes later, and I can see they turned their lights off and they're leaving now, so that's good. Maybe someone on the tug was having an issue or something, a health issue, or I don't know. Maybe they'll tell me. Maybe I'll ask when I go through. So let's finish making breakfast here and then get out on the water and get past this lock and dam. Just surrounded by action. These guys are probably busy over there. But I kind of want to know if I'm going to get through anytime soon, so I'm going to go ahead and radio them. They can ignore me if they want. Good morning, Lockmaster. This is a pleasure craft heading south. I'm just checking in with you to see if I might be able to pass through this morning.
This is Lock 11. Go ahead there again. Sorry, I can hardly hear you.
Oh, yeah. I'm just anchored right outside the lock here to the north. I'm heading south. I can see you guys are busy, but I was just checking to see if I might be able to pass through sometime this morning.
Yeah, Roger. Here, probably I'd say in about an hour and 15 minutes, we'll be able to lock you through.
Sure, that sounds great. Thank you. I hope there was no major problems over there. I saw some fire trucks.
No, got everything taken care of.
Great, thank you. I'll check back in an hour or so. Thank you, sir.
Sounds good. See you then.
Let's check back in with the Lockmaster. Good morning, Lockmaster. This is the Pleasure Craft just north of you here. I'm checking in to see if it might be a good time.
Yeah, I think water. Walking through here in about 20 minutes.
I think I heard about 20 minutes, and yeah, that sounds great. Thank you, sir.
Not a problem.
And the wind has died down quite a bit. So, piece of cake. This all worked out. We didn't go over the dam. We didn't get thrown into the rocks or on the railroad tracks. Catastrophizing. If you're a catastrophizer, then this kind of stuff will just wreak havoc with you, but it's good practice. So, God will get you through. God's your defender. Remember. And while we're killing time here, I'll show you that the solar is bounced back. It got down to where this was blinking. It was saying the batteries were low, and even one time this flashed at me and said voltage is low, which kind of worried me. So, but now that I unplugged the refrigerator, since it's like in the 30s, so no big deal. And we're back up to, well, 12.7, and it's not only that, it's not only what the voltage is on the batteries, but also like kind of the battery storage, which is what that little emblem shows us, and it's, it's doing well. So we're back into solar, we're back into energy. I could probably even plug the refrigerator back in. All right, guys and gals, we are leaving our little sanctuary spot. Thank you for saving us last night. That anchor right there was hooked on a log or something on the bottom. I had to drive over it a couple times to pull it out, but it worked fine and I got it back, so that's all I care about. All right, so they're letting us, let me see if I can do this here. Okay, so they're letting us in. I rated them and asked them if we could float. To my surprise, they said no, they'd like us me, the dog, Wavey and I, to grab on the side. I explained to them that it's just me and my worthless beagle, and she's not worthless. She's not useless either. She's just not very helpful. But they said go ahead and just float. If you've done it before, then go ahead. So that's, just keeping you posted on how they do things in here, so when you do your trip, little surprises here and there. Every lock is allowed to do it however they want. So, I mean, see, you're not like you're helping or anything. Oh man, give me a break. Okay, I think this is lock 11. Yeah, it is lock 11. See the sign over there? I'll show you in a minute. And yeah, the wind's died down. It's really nice in here. We're just floating in. He said we can float, so let's just get through here and get out of his way. This is the first brick building I've seen on these locks. Looks very well made. And they've got a little observation tower over there, which I believe they let people come in and watch ships go through and stuff. Very nice of them. It's nice how they keep, for the most part, as much as they can, they keep these just open to the public. You can just kind of come and watch, and if you're interested, the sign says Lock and Dam 10, 32 miles upstream where we came from. This is mile 583, which I'm still not entirely sure what they mean by that. Does that mean the mouth of the Ohio, or is that, considered the upper Mississippi? And then lock number 12 is 26 miles down. So I guess our 25 mile days is actually working out pretty good. Here, let me turn the phone around. Yeah, our 25 mile hour mile, I'll try that again. Our 20 to 25 mile days is actually working out pretty good to get from lock to lock. Now, it didn't work very good for us last night because we got here so late. I guess we could have passed through, and in hindsight, I could have looked at the chart and seen that there is actually way better spots on the other side, which there usually is. I'm starting to learn other side of the locks, downstream, everything is less turbulent. It kind of makes sense, you know. It kind of becomes the pool again. And when things are coming up to the dams and to the locks, you know, there's just a general more kind of busyness and turbulence involved with the river. So I'm going to keep that in mind going forward and just try to time things a little better. Last night was pretty stressful, but all's well that ends well. So, okay, let's get through this and we'll continue on. I don't say this enough, guys. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right, we're closed up. And they're bringing us down. I noticed that the flag is at half mast today. I'm guessing that's for something that just happened in Maine, you know, depending on when you watch this video. Lewiston, Maine. I won't mention it on the video. That stuff gets pretty sensitive on social media. Oh, this one's a piece of cake. I haven't even had to adjust the boat yet. We're in here and just pretty much floating in place. It's nice. Relief. Alright, so I saw this guy walk down here. He went into this room. That must be where you control the outward gates or the south gates. And they're opening up for us. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Not a problem. Have a safe trip.
Can you at least hold a line? Why can't you just go on the back and hold a line? Can you do anything other than just eat treats and go for walks?